To help us begin to understand where we are today, I will be calling on some of the frontline leaders. As a matter of fact, I believe all of them are here to give us a very brief remark, a position statement, I must add, on what their particular position is. Because if you don't take an assessment of where you are, you don't know where you're going. So we have today present stakeholders in this conflict. And in no particular order, I will call and give our frontline leaders no more than 2 minutes to give us an overview of their position.
Good morning. There's danger in conferences. Never lose your voice at a conference. Fumban happened because we lost our voice at the conference. Ambazonian, get up. My people, get up. If you are an Ambazonian, let me see you stand. Until we reach Goya, until we reach Goya, I will never let my journey halfway. Oh, until we reach Goya, I will never let my journey halfway. Oh, until I reach Goya. Thank you. I leave it for my brother who comes after me to take perhaps to the next level. When a doctor sees a patient once and he finds out that the patient has cancer, don't diagnose again. This patient has the illness of recolonization. There's no need to diagnose anew what is happening to the people of southern Cameroons. What happened to our people was that the losers won. Our people gathered in Fumban at a conference like this, and our people voted overwhelmingly for independence. A second choice was to join Nigeria, and a third one was to join La République du Cameroun. The losers won because we let them win. Our people went to the United Nations. France, which is colonizing our people by proxy, led a huge campaign against our people. They lost. The world voted 64-23 in favor of our independence, but they won. Because the same country that voted to deny union with us was granted victory by us being annexed to them. The country that had responsibility to turn the instruments of government to our people, to an elected government, to the first place in Africa where there was a democratic transition from an opposition party, from the ruling party to the opposition party. In that place where democracy was thriving already, in that place, the world decided, we will not give you independence. We cannot let the losers win. This experiment with colonization, with trying to get us to merge into Nigerians, into Cameroonians, it has lasted more than 100 years. We had 44 of those years in Nigeria. When it was time for our people to go home, we went home. We've had 59 with Cameroon. It is time for our people to go home, and they cannot stop us. Nothing will stop our people. Nothing will stop our people. We will give our lives to get there. And we are glad to speak in this country because you taught us how. Nobody gives it to you. We will fight for it. If you are our friends, join us. If you are our friends, join us. There is such a thing as crime against humanity, and colonization is one such crime. I ask one American to bear one day in this country when he will be stopped by the police on the road that speaks Spanish. That you will have a head of state who speaks Spanish to you. That you lead your children into school. They are taught by people who speak Spanish. And they force you to turn over English in favor of Spanish. I dare the United States to accept Britain and the exchequer to run your currency for you. You will know what it means to live under the circumstances that our people are living. And we have lived that experiment 1 year too many. It is time to end the experiment and bring our people home. The killing will not stop us. The war will not be won by those who bring the heavy guns. America tried it with France in Vietnam. They did not succeed. Cameroon will not succeed in Ambazonian. They will not. And our people are ready to go to jail. I am ready to go to jail. As one of the first people amongst our people who was met and interrogated by the FBI with respect to our cause, I repeat, we will go to jail, we will die, because we cannot let another people colonize us. There's not one single example in the world of a people who obtained independence before the United Nations and they are not a free people today. Not one example. And so, if there was a union with Cameroon, if the world was under the illusion that there was a union between the people of Cameroon, we are here to tell you there is none. And if there was one, there are countries that had unions too. Egypt formed the union with Syria. When it was time for them to go their separate ways after 3 years, they went their separate ways. Gambia and Senegal had a union. When it was time for them to go their separate ways, they went their separate ways. The Soviet Union was a union. When it was time for them to go their separate ways, they went their separate ways. So please, let me tell you that I am absolutely delighted that one of us, Dr. Fontaine, who has paid the price of prison, paid the price of torture, continues now to suffer it, that he's put this together. If we are afraid to speak amongst ourselves, if we are afraid to tell federalists that you are wrong to ask our people to continue to suffer this, if we cannot speak to ourselves, we cannot speak to La République. You have to be bold enough to face the world and tell the world that we will never surrender. We will never. It should be very clear. Dr. Fontaine has pulled us together because when two brothers fight, the one who is not fighting shows up and says, hey, hold it. I got this. You guys come together. I'm sure we can get some chemistry together. Let us not deny that chemistry. We need it to survive. We need it to get along. We need it to tell the world that we have a position. Please, let us think about it. The world knows what we are being prompted to. The world is encouraging the minority to lead the way. Christian Cardinal Tumi is a very respectable Catholic clergyman. But he happens to lead the minority view with respect to this matter. Do not crown the losers. Do not crown the losers. Cardinal Tumi has led his life as a priest, denying to go into politics. Now he leads an opposition faction. Cardinal Tumi, please come home. Kikakilaki wants you to lead the people of southern Cameroons to freedom. Don't stay behind. Let me say to my brothers who are outside, I speak especially to my junior brother, Choyaba. My brother, come home. Let's build a home together. Let's build a tent big enough to hold all of Ambazonia. We cannot do this fight without everybody on board. And I will not stop begging. I know that I was one of those ones that said it was a very headstrong one. Huh? But I know too that my brother Choyaba can be very headstrong. But please, together we will do this. And we all must show the patience. We must all show the understanding to get all of us together, to tie this whole thing together. I say one last thing. All over Cameroon, they are showing pictures to the world, telling the world that our people are fighting a war. Our people have a right to buy den guns. I have not seen one single gun besides a slain Ambazonian, a gun. In Cameroon, a den gun is part of my culture. When my father dies, he gives me one of those beautiful traditional dresses that he's wearing, and he gives me a gun. Because you're not a man without a gun. You have to go out and hunt. You have to go out and celebrate births. You have to go out and celebrate deaths. You don't need a license to bear a den gun. Today, because of our culture, they're shooting our people and killing them. The world is watching. This genocide will be under your watch. Worse, the world is offering us a referendum. No, we will not take a referendum. We will not. We will not. We will not take a referendum. There are no two countries in the world that had a referendum. So please, don't offer a referendum to us. And our final word, my final word, the world has told us that we should go into negotiations without preconditions. We should go into negotiations without preconditions. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea unless you're foolish. Look, we will talk with La République du Cameroun about the terms of separation. The world has heard us. Thank you very much.